Sir. This is a special birthday song for that dog. Jawali Jonathan. We say happy birthday to you. Enjoy your new age. The graduate daughter. Not forgetting Shannon Taylor for Chicken Air. You want to remember her late daughter, Taylor, let's go. Not forgetting Beratune, Batu, Yasina So, in Taxi, Mother Teresa, Reina So, Iro Allen. And yeah, we are traveling. Everyone's birthday, everyone looks on, happy birthday. I say, oh, God, I do this, wow, and the original soul in Raw Island. I said, my I said, Helena, Raw Island. I put Tommy Soul in Liberia. But yeah, you let Uncle Stella Soul. Yes, young. Says Angie, in Raw Island. Anita Zia, Minnesota. Apogito,
Good evening. So want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I'm Alfonso Z and so right here of the Liberia Public Radio. And this is a regular Wednesday editions of All Things Considered right here on the Diaspora Informative News Outlet. What we're going to have an experience, interaction, what it means to be in government, outside of government, and take time to talk to former officials as compared to making judgment of who they are and what they do. But it's good to also extend the microphone over to them to have conversations of their own work in government. Whether we agree or disagree. Well, today we are privileged, not strange to this network. He always made himself available to when it becomes necessary. And that's the former Minister of Youth and Sport, Republic of Liberia, one-time assistant minister, former a soccer legend, served his country in different forms and shapes. He served the CDC-led government of former President George Weah. ZEOGAR is here this evening for us to discuss his tenure, what he met, how he left it, his experience in government, outside of government, what he wish he would have done during his administration, but then he outside of government. We're going to have this sort of conversation without being judgmental. We will have an honest conversation here. Let me bring in my guest. He's standing by. The Honorable D. ZEOGAR Wilson is the former Minister of Youth and Sport, Republic of Liberia. One thing we disagree on about man, me, I man. But with all that, we still have that sort of mutual respect. Honorable Minister, if you will, to call you, good evening, good to have you here, and how are you doing? Your microphone, please.
Thank you so much, Alfonso. Good evening to you as well. I'm fine by the grace of God, and I'm glad to be on your program once more. Used to be regular on your show when I was in government. Even after I left government, you brought me on a couple of times. And now I'm back again, so I'm glad to be here this evening.
Yeah. Honestly, very, very much. I don't usually do this here, but I really do appreciate. There are few people that when you know them uh, outside of the bear world, you guys are friends. But when they climb up the hill there, that's a different, they become busy and we know what. But I honestly, that's not who you are. So I must really point that out. So sometimes when they, well, you people in government, there will be a conversation. Why are you defending the mass? It's not a matter of how why you defending, but people, there are some people that you know that, and I really, really do appreciate that. And like you alluded, when you're in government, you're always here. Even out of government, you're here. There are people who try to reach out to them to give them the fair share of the conversation. But again, people are busy. But let's do a little bit brush out here. Let's have a little bit conversation. Don't want to get to the main issue. You are a government now, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So what it means to be in and out.
Well, I would say it's kind of a stress-free. uh, because being government and at the level, it just being a lot that you have to do, especially if you are the head of the institution. The buck stops with you. You have to make sure that the entity runs appropriately. You have to address all kinds of issues, be it the programs you are implementing, programmatic issue with employees, and just the whole nine. Yeah, just a lot. So right now, I'm kind of relaxed. I'm stress free and just taking it one day at a time. I'm thankful to God, but also I'm grateful to President Weah for giving me an opportunity for the second time to serve my country and to serve at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So I'm grateful.
I'm grateful. What do you miss, Mr. Minister, in government? Everything that's a good. I know the stress aspect is there, but there must be something special, precious, cardinal. What do you miss in government?
Well, quite frankly, I miss my team. We started on a rocky road in the beginning, but then we all got because we all came from different backgrounds, we did not know each other. We were trying to know each other, and after we got to know each other, and we have a smooth ceiling. I also miss the employees at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, though all of them did not appreciate me, and it's just common human nature. But I was the minister for all of them. And while I was there, it didn't matter to me. And I didn't ask anybody what political party you were for. It didn't matter to me what political party somebody represented. What I was interested in is getting people, the right people to do the job. At the end of the day, if you don't have the right people to do the job, it falls on you. So I miss all, that interaction on a daily basis. I would leave my office, walk down the hall, go to every offices, get to interface with employees. Employees bringing their problem to me, personal problem, work-related problem, and just that continuous interaction with them and with my team that I have as well, the connections that I made with our development partners, some of my cabinet colleagues, uh, you know, friendship we developed on a job. Yeah, I miss all of that, quite frankly.
So we're going to enter all here by nomenclature of the name of the program, All Things Considered. But you are also, Honorable Minister, at liberty not to answer questions if you will. We'll respect that. First of all, you're not in government again, so nobody going to dismiss you if you say anything. Nobody going to be like,
I'm a free agent.
yeah, you are free agent. Nobody going to take telephone call. Oh, Mr. President, you heard what the minister said. Oh, help you out to that, blah, blah, blah. Is there political pressure to occupy ministerial position, but to be a little bit specific here, the position you held in terms of coming from the higher up? Mr. Minister, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. Yeah, are there some political pressure? Regardless whether you are partisans of that, of the ruling establishment, and if you are not, then I predict there should be some sort of disadvantage in that. Because people
Well,
say, yeah.
before I proceed to answer your question, let me say this much. I want to use this public forum to congratulate the current Minister of Youth and Sports, Antonin Cornelius Kra Tokpa, for her preferment by the President and confirmation by the Senate to the position of Minister of Youth and Sports. I wish her all the best. I think she started on the right footing. Her engagement I followed. I believe she has an open mind and she does engage. I really don't know her personally. I don't think I ever met her, but since her ascendancy, and I reached out to congratulate her, and she have had an open communication with me, which I highly, highly appreciate. And I wish her all the best. The Liberian way they say that if your Christmas will be good, you will know on the eve. And I believe her tenure at the ministry will be good, given her level of engagement that I've observed thus far. Things that she's doing, I think she started on the right footing. And all I can wish her all the best. And like I told her before, I'm always around, always available. Whatever pieces of advice she would need or whatever information she would need, I'm always willing to provide that because at the end of the day, we all as Liberians are patriotic Liberians. We must wish our government well, whether we supported our political establishment or not. But at the end of the day, it's about our country. And I just want to wish her the best. And I also want to say to the employees at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I hope and pray that the level of support and cooperation that you gave me when I served at the ministry, I hope and pray and encourage you to work with Minister Tuba in that same vein. She's a young woman. She needs all of the help she can get. For me, I was different in the sense that I worked at the ministry before as assistant minister for 5 years. So coming back, I was not coming to a territory I did not know. But I think this is the first time, and she's the first youthful minister the country I ever had. And we all should put our hand rally around her to give her all the support she needs so that she can succeed because her success is a success for all the young people in our country and for the government as a whole. Now to your question, quite frankly, I would tell you I was never pressured by President Weah under any circumstances when I served at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Pressure came from elsewhere, but I
In
stood my
government?
grounds.
In government?
No, also our government. Because if an entity that is not governmental,
Mhm.
I can't say that that's government.
Okay.
But I stood my grounds on certain principle. Um, for instance, I will receive recommendation to put somebody to a position, and I'll give you a case in point. I'm not going to call name, but I received a recommendation to make a young man uh, director general director general of TVET.
Hmm.
When I reviewed his resume, he was an educated guy. He had a master's degree in health science from the United States. And so when I saw his resume, I was very frank with him and honest. I said, look, the position you've been recommended for, unfortunately, I can't give you that position. He said, why, Mr. Minister? I said, because number one, the person in that position is more qualified than you when it comes to that position. You have a degree in health science. I will encourage you to go back to where the recommendation came from. Let them send you to NVIL or the Ministry of Health. It will serve you well because that's your background. A Director General of TVET, the guy that is there, he's been there for over close to 20 years. He hold, I believe, 2 masters, and he's good at his job. I'm not going to take him from there and put you there because we come from the same institution, what have you. And those are some of the things that I did. I stood my ground on certain things.
Let
Were
me put
certain
it.
areas that we didn't we're not so rigid, but in certain areas I just thought that it was just the appropriate thing to do to say the truth and let the person know why you're making such decisions. Yes.
That's the ZOGA that I know. Is that why you told the gentleman, without you taking into considerations whether there will be a backlash or cost you your job? Is that why you told the person?
I'll be honest with him, even if he come to me from the president himself, I would have told the president the same thing. But he's the president. If he insisted, look, my thing is this: it is better for you to let the person know why you are making certain decisions, get to know all of the information surrounding something, and leave it up to them. So that has been my approach. And I wanted you to understand that you have a master's degree in health science. Why you want to come to TVET Director General? Go to Ministry of Health. Go to NFIL. The same person that sent a recommendation to me, that person can also send a recommendation to NFIL or to Ministry of Health because that's your background. It would do you, I mean, it would be better for you to do that than to kind of be Director General of TVET because number one, you don't have a background in TVET. Putting you there and you can't perform the job, it falls on me. I'm the head of the entity. And I would just be honest and frank on that issue.
What does that tell you, Mr. Minister? Saying that, let's imagine of maybe one or two instances, but you make reference to one. But then what does that tell you being in government and head of an institution? Uh, Recommendations come from high profile influencers, those that are connected with a higher up and say, oh, go to this person and this is us. Their expectations, they will get that. But just in reference to this one scenario here, buck it up for me. What does that tell you being in government, the challenges involved?
Well, this is not uncommon in government. Besides, look, you got even your friends, your colleagues.
Hmm.
We want to send people to you for you to help and do what have you. There's one thing when you send somebody, when someone sends someone to you in government to help without being specific on the position the person should hold, then to be specific on the position, and especially so when the person in the position is qualified, more qualified than the person you are sending. How do I remove somebody? And when I mean qualified, this guy had a master's degree. Doesn't mean he's not qualified the whole position, but in a specific field, area of discipline, he was not qualified for that position. And I could not, in true sense, in true conscience, remove this qualified staff from there to put somebody else there who I know was not qualified in that position. But this is happening in government. It can. Some people will go ahead and do it. Some people may remove people because of political reasons. They want to help partisans. But trust me, at the Ministry of Youth and Sport, like I said, I never asked anybody one day what political party you for. I was not interested in that. I wanted to make sure we got people to do the job. It doesn't mean that I did not help seditions. Oh, we did a lot for sedition there. Some decisions I wanted to take at some point, and I didn't know these folks were, sedition were brought to my attention, and I just, oh, really? I didn't know that, and I just backtracked. But this is happy. You got to be flexible in some areas, but you got to call a spade in certain areas. So it happened in government. So I was not surprised because, like I said, they were my first time working in government. I was assistant minister for 5 years. As the same minister of youth and sports, I encountered some issues like that. And now as minister, there were a lot coming, but from the higher up itself, no. I didn't come under any pressure. I remember there was one instance where, to be honest, the president had called me, but it was not like he was putting me under pressure. He made a suggestion to me on certain things that I will not go in detail because he did not have the background information. So he sent for me. I went to him to Jamaica, and we had a good discussion. And he told me why he called me. And after he got done, I decided to explain to him, giving the true picture of what I was obtaining, so that he knows, because it's better for the president to have all of the information he needs to make informed decision. And after I lay out for him and told him why it would have been challenging for me to, carry on what he was discussing with me, it was important for him to get a true picture. And I tell you, to be honest, and after he saw the true picture, how I lay out for him, he just told me, he said, well, ZEOGAR, my man, just go ahead and do what you got to do. And I appreciated that. He did not pressure me to say, oh, you have to do it because I'm the president, do what I tell you to do. No. He brought a suggestion to me, called me to discuss it. I laid the facts up for him. When he saw the facts from me, he heard everything I told him. He said, well, just do what you got to do. At least I know the facts. And that was it.
We're trying to unveil things that happened behind the scene. We didn't know they were off camera. Was that unusual to you, Mr. Minister, president calling and like an ultimatum is about to be given, but he kind of listened to you based on what you are saying? That's sort of unusual to me. Usually they come with, when those things happen, man, I understand this is so, but you have to do this. But from what I'm hearing, he opened it up to get your side. Maybe incorrect information were taken, and so other people they act on whatever to receive. Does that erase the notion that, oh, this guy was a guy, whatever information where he act on it from that experience? Is it fair to say that?
Well, first of all, what I just discussed with you, he didn't call me to give an ultimatum.
Yeah, no, that I know that's what I mean.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
yeah.
look, this is what I would say, because things vary from president to president, individual. You have to understand that besides George being the president, he's my personal friend. We go a long way, over 42 years plus. So I would say the way he will approach things with me, maybe it may not be the same way he approached things with other people. But in this particular instance, he called me and discussed with me what his thought process was on a particular subject. And I provided, because when he discussed with me, I knew that he did not have good information. And it was my obligation to provide the information to him. And if he knew the information and still wanted what he called to discuss with him, that would have been a different scenario. But after I laid out for him and he understood exactly what the situation was, he just said to me, well, continue what you are doing and let's move forward. And that was it.
Are you a politician?
Every man is born as a politician by nature. But I don't subscribe to the, how do I put it? I'm not a career politician. So there are times the way I will speak about issue, I speak my mind. I'm not taking my political ramification because I'm not a politician like that. I just believe that in certain things, just say what you have to say. Politicians will all want to sugarcoat things. They want to put a spin on things.
Yeah.
They want to polish things. No.
Politically
I would say,
correct.
exactly. I will be politically correct. And for me, I'll just have to see things the way I see it.
It's quite fascinating, but not as surprised, because I've dealt with you, reaching out to now the current Minister of Youth and Sports. It's not typical with our politicians. It's not typical with people leaving government offices, because when they leave, they just think like they close the door. They don't want to have a communication. They don't want to reach people that taking their jobs successful, stay or even share notes with them. What was the reception? You reached out first, correct? You reached out.
Yes. Yeah, I did. Like I said, she was very receptive. I tell you the truth. Like I said, I don't know her personally. I've never met her before. I worked with her dad in government. Her dad and myself were in the cabinet president. We are. But she was very receptive to me, and she has been since. And I really appreciate that. It tells me that she's somebody who come in the job with open mind. She's new to the ministry, and she will need all the help that she will need. And for me, Alfonso, I'm very passionate about the youth of our country. I serve in that capacity. I saw a lot of things that the young people are going through. I'm very passionate, and especially the at-risk youth program that we started. I was very passionate about that program, very passionate, because I see that a whole swath of young people destroying their future on drugs. Some of them have mental health issues, and they need help. They need help. So when it comes to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I'm very passionate. I tell you the truth. Even the previous minister, who is a friend of mine, he was not as receptive to me as Cornelius is. I'll be honest about that. So I'm very, very, humbled and appreciated that she has an open mind, and she's a good communicator. So I say, she's a good communicator, and she will do well. She will do well from what I see. She will.
Well, folks, this is the Wednesday editions of All Things Considered. A conversation with former Minister of Youth and Sport, former Assistant Minister involving multitudes of roles to serve his country, the Honorable ZEOGAR Wilson. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to shift the gear to see if we can hit the cardinal issue for which we are here. When you got in, now you're out. What was left undone? I'm Alfonso Z, and so we'll be right back.
Hey you, it's time to pack your bags. The world is calling. From the skies above to every corner of the map, explore all 7 continents with journeys designed especially for Europe and Africa. Whether it's a cruise, an all-inclusive resort, a hotel, car rental, theme park getaway, or the perfect excursion, Ayana's Dream Escapes brings the world within reach. Adventures start here. Don't just dream, escape. book now, visit our site, scan the QR code, or just call today.
Just call today. Today is Wednesday. We are in conversation with the former Minister of Youth and Sports, Republic of Liberia, the Honorable ZEOGAR. And thank you so much for sharing your experience and all that happens behind the off camera. Some we know, some we don't know. Now, let me ask you, this youth here, under the provisions, the act that established the ministry since 1982, if I'm correct here. What is a youth range? Because it's a convoluted one. You see people like, oh, they say they are still youth, and we are youth, we are this, we are that. But let me just show you something here, and it was one of the things that prompted I want to get to the bottom, like here.
You can cheat, you can make a cheat. You are not born for smoking drugs.
Excuse me 1 minute.
Yeah.
So we can start in on the
Yeah, you can express yourself to the that easy. This is West Point TV. You can talk. These are you are
At-risk youth. What is the Ministry of Youth and Sports with this, brothers and sisters, at risk? What is the Ministry of Youth role actually in reintegrations or that sort of accommodations in society? Because one of the cardinal functions is to have useful citizens under the provisions that establish that here. What is the Ministry of Youth and Sports role with this at-risk group?
Well, the Ministry of Youth and Sports is a statutory entity of government responsible to direct, coordinate, supervise, guide all youth and sports activities in Liberia. And youth under the Constitution is defined between the age of 15 to 35. So the at-risk youth, they fall directly under the Ministry of Youth and Sports as their statutory entity. And their plight is something that the government needs to address. When I served as minister, I made a case that if we don't address this at-risk youth issue, and the reason why we coined the name at-risk youth because they call them ZOGOs. For us, we believe that name was stigmatizing. So at-risk youth was the appropriate name we had to give them. And I have said when I was doing my advocacy for the at-risk youth program, is that if we don't address the issue of at-risk youth, it will be our next national security crisis. Because I know you are aware, most of the young people, they terrorize people in our various communities. They are on drugs. Some of them are thieves. Some of them have mental health issues. And so the issue of our radio should be approached from a holistic point of view, not just from the government. Because government, quite frankly, does not have the capacity of its own to deal with the radio program or situation. That is why under our leadership, we were able to convince the president to establish the National Steering Committee on at-risk youth, which was chaired by the Minister of Youth and Sports and co-chaired by the Minister of Health. Then we were able to form partnership with the one UN system. Because like I said, we believed that we need a partnership to address the at-risk youth issue. The at-risk youth issue involved a lot of resources, and government alone could not do it. We needed to work with our development partners, the business community, what have you. And so we're able to also establish a national steering committee, jointly co-chaired by the Minister of Youth and Sports and the UN representative in Liberia. So we had that joint steering committee, and that joint committee drafted the At-Risk Youth Program document. That document was approved by the cabinet and also approved by the One UN system, and all of our development partners that were on board. And that's how we started the At-Risk Youth Program in Liberia. So before I left office in October of 2024, because we agreed in our concept document that it will be a 50-50 funding from the government and our development partner. Meaning, if the government of Liberia came up with $1 million for the program, our partner will come up with $1 million. That was part of our agreement. And we agreed there will be a pool fund under the supervision of the One UN system with the UNFPA, because we wanted more development partners to come, because that fund existed for other programs that were being receptive by development partners. So before I left office in October 2024, I signed an agreement with the One UN system through the Peace Building Fund for $3 million for the At-Risk Youth program. Because we started the program, I believe, in July of 2024 with 500,000, and that funding was strictly from the government of Liberia. The initial amount came from the government of Liberia. And so when I signed this contract, the One UN system committed $3 million. And the government of Liberia was supposed to come up with $3 million as well.
And what happened?
But, well, when I left office in January of 2024, in 2023, 2023 we started the program. So in 2024, in my TENURE note, we documented all of that, I signed this contract with the One UN system for $3 million to the Peace Building Fund for At-Risk Youth, and the government needed to come up with its own portion of $3 million. And it was important that the government then now followed through on that. The money was made available. It was approved in New York, everything. It was just a matter for the government to come up with a share of the $3 million, or even if the government could not come up with exact $3 million, come up with first million, because the $3 million were over for 3 years, $1 million per year. That's what we agreed to. So the government of Liberia came up with $1 million, that'll be $2 million to continue the program. That was well documented in my TENURE note. I briefed the then Minister Ko Bangalu, the transitional team headed by Dr. Timmy Weeks. I briefed them sufficiently, and I told them it was important for this program to continue. In fact, at the end of my tenure, we have completed the rehabilitation, the detoxification, and rehabilitation of 120 At-Risk youth. All they were waiting for was for graduation. And the graduation was then planned for February, but unfortunately, the current government extended that time to April. And I believe in April, the graduation was held for the first batch of At-Risk youth that we have been rehabilitated. We carried them through decertification, rehabilitation. We were provided vocational and technical skills, and then they were only ready for graduation. And this government performed that graduation. Since then, what was done regarding the $3 million contract I signed, I have no idea. But it is my understanding that a follow-up was not made. And I think the One UN system decided to handle the money the way they saw fit. And that's why I know.
Yeah, I mean, when these funds are allocated within a specific time frame, if we don't use it, they are redirected. They go to
Yeah.
other people. Now, you talk about turnover note. There has been a sort of bone of contention. People talk around, and we are not judgmental. We like to give people the opportunity to tell their own story. You did a turnover note. When you was getting in, you're getting in as minister from then to the Helen Johnson Unity Party government. Did you receive any turnover note?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Hmm.
I did not.
So did you close the door? Was there any inquiry? What was responsible? Nothing. Nobody. Nothing was left on the decks. No further to say this is where we start. This is how far we are going with this conversation. Mr. Minister, coming, you can continue just in case. And you know, this is where the frustration is because government job is just how you take it. You will leave someday, or you know, you can be fired. You can be administrative changes can be made. What was responsible for that? Do you know?
Well, my understanding was because later on the minister Sainto, who I took over from after a couple of months, paid me a courtesy visit. We had a discussion. My understanding was the 10-hour note was sent to the executive at the time, and the issue was turn it over to the incoming government. Whether that was done, I don't know. But owing to that experience, what I decided to do, besides sending my 10-hour note to the office of the president as it was requested, I also made a copy for the incoming minister and left it on his desk. So that if the executive did not give it to him, he will have it. That's what I did based on the experience I had. So I thought to do it that way. And besides doing it that way, I also briefed the transitional team on that factor of Dr. Kimmy Weeks. And I also, like I said, the minister came, he saw my note, he told me receive it, and he was going through it. So I didn't want Minister Bangalore to face the same experience I faced, you know. And like I said, the advantage I had was I worked at the ministry before, so I knew my way around. But for somebody coming in new, it's always good to prepare them so they know what they are doing. And to his own of credit, Minister Bangalore, in my 10-hour note on the sports star, I mentioned two important things that I told him he needed to accomplish. And if he did not do that, he would have banned the football fee again. We were not able to get what we call the dock or seat, the substitute benches. That's why the renovation we did, and Liberia got ordered the ban. But we're not able to get the substitute benches in time, and we're not able to pay for the floodlights because we did the procurement, everything, but we could not. We did not pay for the floodlights, so we could not complete our task. And in my take one note, and just what I did was my team and I, besides what we had in 10-1 note, we briefed the transitional team and we stressed specifically the items in our 10-1 note that were priority. And we talk about the substitute benches. We talk about the floor light, the Raise You program, what have you. And I also stressed that when I met with Minister Bangalore, he came to visit me at my house, and we talked about it. And thankfully, he was able to get a docker seat, the substitute benches, and the government able to pay the company for the floodlight, and the floodlight is now at the SKD. It was installed, so I'm happy for that. Government is continuity. What we could not do regarding the SKD sports complex, despite the fact that we got over the ban on it, we got on the ban. If we did not do the two things, it would have banned Liberia again. And thankfully, Minister Bangalore gave me a word on that, and he did it. And I appreciate him for that because government continuity is about our country. Yes.
So, Mr. Minister, talk to me. Most often, everything we hear, Monrovia is the hub of our country, is the seat where everything taking place. On your watch as minister, I want to know what are the work of the ministry, the team that we're going to be coming to that. Was that decentralized? Every county somehow, some way, no matter how, to what extent, felt the presence of the Ministry of Youth and Sports as beneficiaries in this process, or we were just only on Monrovia alone?
Oh no, the Ministry of Youth and Sport has a youth coordinator in all 15 counties. They are youth coordinator, and some have sports coordinator as well. There are a few, but we have youth coordinator in all 15 counties. Our activities are decentralized. They're not centralized. And it was not just on me. It was there before. It's always been there before. Youth and sports activity are decentralized. There are youth coordinators in all 15 counties.
I did hear you saying you made a case government can do it all. Why government can do it all? Is it coming from the executive or the first branch of government? What these the need, the urgency, knowing fully well these folks, if people, a government, which is a responsibility of government didn't pay attention to, it becomes a liability to society, and it becomes a problem. Like you said, they are left with no alternative. That's not a justification, but we know how our country was inflicted as a result of the civil war, substance, and different things factor in, which of course they are dealing with. Why did government, do you think under your government you did enough, or what was the hiccup?
With respect to the irate youth,
Hmm.
is that a question?
Yes,
Is it specific to irate youth?
yes, please.
Yeah, I would say we did our best, even though we started late, I must admit, but at least we laid the foundation. The foundation in the sense that we identified a youth agriculture training center in Bensonville to be the place to construct the Irate Youth Rehabilitation Center. That facility is under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And it required a lot of money. The estimate at the time we did it when it was 13.5 million. Now, when you construct such a rehabilitation center, you know you have to have everything there that will entails that we have to do a rehabilitation, the equipment, you need a clinic, you need vocational, you need trade shop, everything. And that's why I say government will not do all. We needed a partnership. We needed a partnership. And that is why I was able to sell the case with my team, along with the steering committee, not just I alone. Minister Sony, the Ministry of Commerce, they were all on the team. Minister of Finance, we're all on the team, Minister of Public Works, Minister of Gender, we're all on the steering committee. We all work together and saw the idea that we needed to form a partnership with development partners. So some of these equipments, some of these things that we need for that center, that our partner will be able to bring it because they are partners. They get a lot of support outside the country. They get a whole wide network and require partnership because even the professionals on the medical side, you need psychiatrists. At the time we were doing the Aregu program, Labra only one psychiatrist, like the Moses Zia in the country. Later on, we got two more psychiatrists got added. But for the population we're dealing with, we need more than that. And we need other professionals. And some of the area, the development partners who help in that direction. That is why I said government cannot do it all. We need a partnership to address the Irate issue because it requires a whole lot of money. It requires a whole lot of things that our partners can bring to the table. That's why we form a unique cooperation with them. They bought into the other they themselves because they see the Irate youth children in the streets. They see how they behave. You see, the Irate youth children, their attitude is not tied to one specific group. They can go after anybody anytime. So that's why it became a national issue. And I've always said, Alfonso, the issue of Irate youth is a national issue. It is not a political issue. It requires all hands on deck. It requires the support from the private sector, the business community, development partners, government, even individuals. We all have to come together to put our hands together to solve the problem or address the issue. So that is why at least we laid the foundation. We started a program that had 120 graduates. That program, I just hope and pray it has continued. And I hope Minister Crow or Minister Tokbachiwase will look into that and see how best you can revive this with the UN, with the one UN system. Because there's a concept document to that effect, endorsed by the cabinet, and we put in place the program. We started the program. So it's very important because we must address the issue of outrage youth. If we don't, it will be the next national security crisis on our hands. Seriously, we have to address it.
A critical and free thinker out there like myself, 120, I would be scratching my head and say, all right, 120, let's look at the population. We do not know exactly the number, the statistics of people involved in that category. So not to get ahead of my shadow here, do we know the number of at-risk folks in Liberia under the ministry? Any statistic, any figure you think you have on top of your head?
Well, there were various surveys that were conducted, and if I can remember, some survey put that number around the country. Some put it at around 60,000. Some other survey had it less than that. But the 120 that I told you about, we recruited more than 120. But there was a voluntary program because working with the one UN system, our development partners, we cannot force any array youth into a rehabilitation center. That would have been a violation of the fundamental human rights. So we made it voluntary. We recruited over 450 of them. And some of them left on their own because some of them said they got the information, we're going to get a cell phone, some of them were going to get them money. But those who wanted to stay, they remain. And I gave you a story. When the election was up, right, we had a group of them in Broadville. I think about 30 or 35 of them. And the team called me and said, we have a challenge. All the guys say they want to go vote. They had a voting card. Now, we did not have, because we're working with the police, the LDA, they were all part of the joint committee. So they were providing security everywhere. But we did not have the manpower to take them to vote and bring them back because even the officers themselves had to vote. So it was a tough one. So the leader of the group, when I was talking to the staff, he got on the phone with me. He said, Minister, I'm the leader for the group here. I want to give you my word. He said, you know, we're plenty of people brought here, right? I said, yes. He said, those who wanted to go, they left. Those who all that want to stay to change our life will remain. He said, I guarantee you, we'll go to vote. After voting, we'll come back. Even if we won't come back the same day, the next day we'll all come back here. Because those all that are here, we want to change our lives. That's what we are here for. So please, don't let us get back to our old form. You allow us go. We'll come back. I give you my word.
They didn't get by now. Old form.
Yes. And trust me, with a heavy heart, I made a decision for them to allow them to go and vote. They went and voted. They went and voted, and they came back. All of them came back. Nobody left behind. All of them came back. The second round of voting, they went again, they voted, and they came back because they wanted to change.
That is interesting. Are these people being integrated now? Are they being helped by government to fund it? Because, I mean, to good and everything get a good and bad side. There are some who really willing to do what they do. And there are other there, they say, monkey never leave a blind hand behind. I don't care what you do, they will be there. But those that lead, those that took the bull by the horn, was there any sort of plan by government along the way to have them properly integrated, found something to do? I know that's a kind of crazy one there, but because when you get out of there and you cannot sustain yourself, you can't get basic, you can't do anything to, then that's a problem. You eventually digress. So was there any sort
So
of adaptation? Was there
that
any
was
sort
part
of plan
that
to
was
get
part of our plan. The plan was to have family integration during the rehabilitation process. And many of them were rehabilitated, integrated with their family, and they were supposed to go home. And those who did not have family to go to, we were supposed to rent a place for them to be, and then we were supposed to monitor them. It was all part of the package that I explained to the minister and him attend one note that these were all part of the package. So after the graduation, as to whether there were follow-up made, Alfonso, I can't tell you. I was not there again. But that's what we were supposed to do. Have the family reintegration, which we did during the rehabilitation problem. So when I went to the family, those who could not go to the family, we found a room for them. But we were supposed to follow up with them to keep in contact, to make sure that they are putting to use the trade that they learn, the vocational skills. But I can't tell you anything about that anymore. You have to maybe one day call Minister Ko Bangalo and interview him, maybe see
oh
whether he
yeah,
can tell you something on that.
we will definitely reach out. And I think this is where the problem, because somebody leaving some important essential information, that's just government where to stop. You have to pick it up here. Now, this the CDC government you serve and on which you serve as the Minister of Youth and Sports. That was one of the major priority of the CDC government with respect in the proper agenda uh, with this youth people. We learned there was a significant help from the other partners, the EU. Uh, their money they get, their contributions, or is it in kind or technical trainings or logistical? Because sometimes when they give this money, and this is where the ordinary citizen rates and other people get confused, because these agency organizations they give it and the equivalent is being measured in dollar, and people, if you don't explain it, they think say, oh, they take the physical care, boom, they put it in the hands of the government or in the hand of the minister. What I see here at EU is saying there was some sort of 24 million was invested in the TVET program in Liberia. How was that then a portion? How that figure? Do you remember anything of that?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. Prof. Sony and I were beneficiary ministries of the EU support, TVET. So, just to be clear to our listening audience, that amount did not come to the Ministry of Youth and Sports or the Ministry of Education. The EU contracted a service provider, a group called UNIDO. It's another UN, another organization called UNIDO. UNIDO was an implementing partner of the EU. So all the funding for the TVEP projects went to UNIDO. We made sure that the project are designed and agreed upon, they were implemented. And yes, on our administration, all of the project on our TVET from the EU, that amount you're talking about, they were fully implemented and completed. If you go to Tottenham now, you see, first of all, there are two sectors of TVET. And let me explain that. There's the formal sector that's under the Ministry of Youth, Education, and the informal or non-formal sector under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. What is the difference? The difference is simple. For those that are doing TVET under the Ministry of Education, the formal sector, you have to be in going to high school while you're doing trade and you graduate from high school. For those under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, like MVDC and BDOTC or Tumutu, in Bond County. You don't have to be a high school graduate to enter our TVET. That is why the informal and non-formal sector is the largest sector of TVET. That's the difference. Now, the Tottenham were on the Ministry of Education. Tottenham trade shop was refurbished, renovated, and state-of-the-art carpentry equipment were put in there because the production unit for Tottenham would have been carpentry and woodwork. The same is true for NVDC. There were renovation taking place and took place at NVDC. Even the electrical shop, the R&A, the woodwork shop, renovated, state-of-the-art equipment. The same is true for the Booker Washington Institute, for the multilateral in Grand Sino, Maryland. All those schools were renovated, new trade shop built, with all of their equipment, all had production unit. So NVDC and Tottenham had production unit in woodwork. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, or a few months ago, President Bouacar was at NVDC to dedicate, I think, decks or chairs that were made by the students there. You saw the kind of a furniture they used. That entire workshop, the equipment, they were all done on our administration, completed. That's the kind of a plan we had, because all the equipment at the TVET institution were obsolete, outdated. But all these schools I'm talking about, they all have currently state-of-the-art equipment, and they have different production units in different things. Like the school for one of the vocational school under youth and sport, the BDOTC, they have production unit in hospitality. That is why when you enter an SKD, a mini hotel, we started the construction there. I'm told it was complete, and I think it's being dedicated, what have you. That is the production unit for BDOTC, hospitality service. It's a mini hotel. And that is all part of that funding from the EU. And prior to the government leading office, we were able to get another grant from the EU for around 28 million for the rest of the TVET schools. Because President Weah's vision was to have TVET schools in all 15 political subdivisions. And the difference this time for the rest of the, I think, 8 or 9 counties for the TVET, we're not renovating any TVET school. We were building TVET school adjacent to a high school. And that TVET school would have been equipped with state-of-the-art equipment for that school, for the students to do both academic and they do that TVET. For example, we identified the C.H. Dewey High School in Bummy County. We would have constructed a TVET school adjacent to that school for Bummy County. The same with Nima County. Nima County and Grand Bassa County are the 2 counties that would have had 2 TVET institutions. One would have been in Ganta, the JWPSC High School, would have had a TVET school adjacent to it. Then on education, and we advocated to get a TVET school in Sanikole, Nima County. That would have been the biggest TVET school in Liberia, called the Sanikole Vocational Training Center in Sanikole. We were able to even get the land, the deed, everything, $28 million plus. So all the schools in Grand Bassa County, RMTC, there would have been in compound number 1, there would have been a TVET school that honor youth and sports. Then in Buchanan, another TVET school that honor Ministry of Education, and you the rest of the county. I don't know up to now whether honor Minister Bankalo, they made any progress on getting the project started, because the funding was approved, everything by the EU, approved by the EU Parliament, and just ready to get started on the same UNIDO. The money did not come to us, neither will the money go to the current government, but it goes to UNIDO who is the implementing partner of the EU project. So about that money, yes. And we're able to secure money to cover all the 15 counties, or then you have state-of-the-art TVET institutions adjacent to a high school in the county. That was the second phase of the project.
Mr. Minister, the UNIDO, is that a Liberian-based
No, international.
international? Was there
Yeah.
any Liberian organizations part of that? No?
The deputy for UNIDO is a Liberian.
Yeah, no, why? Besides UNIDO, there was no any Liberian-based organization.
No, I think UNIDO does give a contract to Liberian construction companies. That's what they do. But they go through the competitive bidding process. They go through the competitive bidding process. Yes. They are the implementer for the EU project, but the project in Liberia, and if they want bid for construction, they will go through competitive bidding. In the Liberian group, will have to bid for it too as well. And then once you win the bid, they will award you the contract.
So to be crystal clear about it, the government of Liberia does not have anything to do with it. I mean, in terms of we have some organizations, we have some institutions as the government, other partners to provide subsidies. So strictly EU handles that UNIDO contract. Is that the case?
Yes, UNIDO is the implementing partner to the EU projects in Liberia. And so we are the beneficiary ministries and agency. We will make sure that the money provided, the project is being implemented as approved. They design everything. We got to make sure it is done. But the funding does not come to us. We do not participate in the bidding process. It's done through the system. It's a transparent system. But we make sure that everything, for instance, on a youth exposed that had to benefit, NVDC, that we were benefited. We got everything we wanted. Everything was BDO. Even the French government came in too. Hospitality service that the French government expertise. That's why they are doing that part with the BDOTC, one of the vocational schools under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. You know, even Tumutu in Bon County, the French government were instrumental in making sure that the workshop there were renovated and they brought new equipment, everything there. In fact, Vonjima Multilateral High School, Vonjima was renovated and rebuilt as well. That was 3.5 million from the Swedish government under the Ministry of Education. All the projects were complete. Everything I'm telling you about it, we completed them on our regime before we left office.
So how many countries are direct beneficiaries of this whole renovations of buildings and kind of modernizes, and how many countries? I know you're wise, both the Ministry of Education and that of the Ministry of Youth in collaboration with partners. How many countries were?
I believe it was 6. I believe 6. And the rest of the country, like I said, we got money before we left office for their own TVET in a tune about 28 million. In fact, one of the beneficiary institutions, Boca Washington Institute, on the Ministry of Education. You know, on BWI we have the Center of Excellence there, and people don't have to go outside Liberia to do TOT. You can do it around BWI. The center is furnished, well equipped, and BWI has a lab where all the TVET institutions in Liberia, they get connected. If you want to have like a big conference and people from, say, Maryland or from Sino or from Grand Gila cannot travel to Monrovia or to McGibby, BWI has a lab that they can have a large meeting, use the computer system there, the whole computer lab. Also, the electrical department of BWI is a big beneficiary of the EU project. So, I mean, for TVET, look, TVET is on the right course. We completed the first aspect under the U Rising project, and the second phase is this government to complete with the rest of the county to have TVET institutions, because the funding were approved and available for the project to go on. So I hope before President Baga leaves office, Liberia should have TVET institution in all 15 political subdivisions, well equipped to.
During your congratulatory message to the equivalent, you had the opportunity to kind of run through this sort of conversation that we are having with our since.
No, quite frankly, she and myself have not had the opportunity to discuss in depth, but she did promise that she will reach out, and whenever she also need my input on something, I want to get some clarification, she will reach out. But I mean, I have no doubt that at the appropriate time she will reach out. She's just taking over. She got to get her foot on the ground. She got a hard consultation, and she's taking notes, I believe, as she goes along. And the appropriate time, if she deem it necessary, to reach out so that I can provide her with some information, I would definitely do it. And I'm sure she will do. Like I said, she has an open mind, and I like that about her so far. And I think she will do well.
Is there anything that you hope perhaps you will achieve on your watch as Minister of Youth and Sports before?
Yes.
You care to tell us?
So, yes, definitely. My team and I had a plan, and we hope we would have been able to achieve that plan. Basically, was to have a national youth job program legislated to be the law of the country, meaning that with that, every government that comes to power does not have to bring their own program, but there will be a national youth job creation program. And the reason why we thought of that idea, because in 2019, I had the opportunity to go on a study tour with my team to Uganda. Uganda has a program called the Youth Livelihood Project, a program. That was a government-run program. The Ugandan government put together, and every year in the national budget, at the time we went at 2019, we were told the government will put in 18 million to that project. And the way the project was being run was that young people will, because Uganda runs a municipal type of government. So every province, they have youth coordinators and people there. So every youth organization will come up with a project they want to do, a business venture. And a committee will review that project. And if approved, depending on the cost, the government will give young people between 1 million to 3.5 million Ugandan shillings, which were around 3,500 US dollar or 1,000 US dollar, something like that. But this group, they have up to 2 years to pay the government back at 0% interest. And if you don't pay your money back within 2 years, then you're going to pay the government 5% interest. And I visited some businesses or young people, and I was very, very impressed. And I thought it was something we could replicate in Liberia. I briefed my team and we bought the idea, and we did develop a concept document around that. But again, there was not much support around it. And I just hope and pray that we would have achieved that, to legislate that program. And then that would have been a framework for a successful government. And the reason why I'm saying that is that, for instance, under the Ellen government, when I came, they said there were other youth programs they had, like Yes, the other thing, to quick impact project. But then before we got there, all the programs were dormant and were just for short term. I did not believe, my team and I did not believe in such short-term project. So that is why we did not bring any project. But what we were able to do was to revive those youth programs that were at the Ministry of Youth and Sport that were dormant. Example, like the cadet program, the youth on the job training program, as well as the National Youth Service program. Those were I would say statutory program of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They were dormant when we took over, and were able to revive them, like the youth on the job training program and the national and the National Youth Service program. We revived them under the LEAP program, sponsored or financed by the French government. In the tune of 5 million. We revived that program. We brought back the youth or the cadet program. It was being supported by the Swedish government. And after they ran out of funding for that program, we were able to contact and we work with the UNDP and started the program and continued the program. Now, these are programs I believe the government should put money into to the Ministry of Youth and Sport to expand it. Because when I got there, we were doing 50, 60 students for 3 months. Through the UNDP, that number went up to 150. But come on now. Liberia has a 5-point-something million population with 80 to 85% of them youth.
You're right.
Why don't we increase that money that the UNDP gave for cadet program? Instead of 150 cadets, we increase that number to like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 across the country. And what we did with our program is that wherever the cadets are assigned, wherever entity they were sent to, be it public or private, we encourage them to employ the students, to employ them after they complete that program. And we were successful in having a lot of them gain employment after the program. But why should a country have a cadet program? We don't want to impart 150 persons. So these are things I hope the minister will look at and advocate to see how better they can expand cadet program beyond the 150. The same is true for the Youth on the Job Training program. The Youth on the Job Training program is a program for children who may have skills in some trade. We assign them to master trainer, later, for example, in carpentry, electrical work or woodwork, plumbing. They assign a master trainer for 3 months to 6 months to develop skills. And it's a very successful program. Then you look at the National Youth Service program. We were recruiting people that have background in education, health, and agriculture. So these are programs under the Ministry of Youth and Sports that have been there for years and they were dormant. We revived them. I think the government need to pump in money to the Ministry of Youth and Sports for these programs instead of every government coming, bringing their own little makeshift youth program. When the government leaves or before the government term ends, that program dies and nothing is done. We shouldn't be playing, like I said one time on one program, I don't know when you play ping pong with the future of the young people in our country. Because the makeshift youth program that we just put up and then after a time we forget about them, it's not so, it's not a good thing. Let's have something that is sustainable. So those are some of the things I wish I have done differently, quite frankly.
So let me ask you, you work for the government, you were there for what, 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
And you say you are a good friend to the president. Your government, did they put money into it?
No.
What?
In youth and sports, let me tell you this much about youth and sports, and it's not unique to Georgia government. Let's be clear. 99% of the funding that comes to youth program at the Ministry of Youth and Sports come from our development partners. They support youth program. They support youth program. Government does not do much on that. Government will come, they will create a short-term youth program for maybe 6 months, 1 year, and that's it. But like our minister, I implemented successfully the Youth Opportunity Project. It was a World Bank, Swedish government funded project. We implemented successfully. That benefited 10,500 youth in all 15 political subdivisions. We successfully implemented the LEAP program, that is the Liberia Entrepreneurship and Employment Program. It was funded by the French government, 5 million in Monserrato, Magidi, and Grand Bassa. That program was successfully implemented and has successfully benefited 11,800 youth. We also implemented the African Development Bank $2.5 million YEEP project, the Youth Entrepreneurship and Employment Program. That program was instituted in 3 institutions: University of Liberia for for job readiness skills, Boga Washington Institute, capacity building, and Nima County Community College, now Nima County University for entrepreneurship development. Today, if you go to Nima County Community College, there is an entrepreneurship center built that is there servicing the youth of Nima County. And in fact, under that program, entrepreneurship is a 1 credit code being taught at that college. So all these programs, we implemented them successfully, but they were funded by development partners. Now you come to the EU, I told you about EU, the TVET, 24 million, 28 million. It's from the development partners, not from government of Liberia. So the youth program got a lot of money come from development partners.
So why?
Government does not put in much. They're not putting nothing much for youth program.
So then the question is why? Was there some sort of comprehensive strategic plan coming from your ministry? That's a government responsibility. So why is the government not aware of these people? Is the government not aware how terrible will it be that when the citizens are not being cared for? So where was the hookup, Mr. Minister?
So I will tell you this much. And like I told you, I'm not a politician, right? And I speak my mind.
You said you're not a career politician.
So there's the issue. I will speak about my government. There's the issue. The issue here is this. 1, there were people in the president's circle, and I heard some of them would say jokingly, but they meant what they were saying. They kept putting the president ear that the Ministry of Youth and Sports received millions of dollars for youth programs. So that perception filtered down, and other people feel that because all the development partners are doing these things, there is not an appetite to give Ministry of Youth and Sport money for youth program. And that is the wrong concept. Regardless, how much is the impact? I named the LEAD program, 11,800 youth. YOP, 10,500 youth, right? How much is that impact give our population? The government needs to have their own youth program. That's why I wanted to legislate a job creation program for young people. So that every year, every government that comes in, government puts certain amount to that program. And then we know how many jobs we created for the young people every year. Because people get the notion that because the development partner are giving so much money to youth and sports for the youth program, the government should do nothing. That is a wrong concept. Government is responsible for its citizenry, especially young people. Government must put money into regardless of how much the UN is giving. So I can speak for my own government. Look, we're not short of ideas. I can tell you, Alfonso, my team and I, we're not short of ideas. We wrote so many concept notes on the youth job creation program, on the cadet program, even vacation school. We wrote concept document on that. It died natural death, and that's the reality. So until we disabuse ourselves of the notion that because we are getting so much money from the development partners to impact people, so we should just stay aside, that is wrong. That is wrong. We got to disabuse ourselves of that notion and look for tangible youth program. I'm not talking about program that some will develop for political reasons and say, oh, let me develop the program to help my party for the next election. No. We need sustainable youth program for every youth of Liberia, irrespective of their political affiliation. That's why we should be driving at, Alfonso.
Is it fair to say that the president should be held accountable for not taking the bull by the horn? I don't believe this concept, people around the president, this and that. The president is the president. I know there are so many advisors and this and that. Like in the case he called you, probably he could have done the same. But the judgment was based on people's perception, and here we are.
Well, like I said, people say around him, I don't have a fight whether they play a role into anything. But again, when people in government who are also officials begin to say such a thing, then it creates an impression that maybe this entity has enough. And so there's no need of looking at. But one thing that we should have done, we forgot, is that we came to power on the back of the young people. They should have been a priority. They should have been a priority. I know some CDC people listening to me again, I will come on an attack again because they don't like for you to speak the truth. I'm not speaking the truth. I'm not saying what I'm saying because I want to criticize Mr. Weah or I'm criticizing. I just told you about my own shortcoming where I thought I fell short. And if we can realize that a government we served for 6 years, if we did everything right, why are we not in office today? We need to take a back seat and look at things we did right and things we did wrong. And if the CDC wants to come back to power, these are things that we should be correcting. But if somebody says something and then they jump on it, oh, he criticizing Joe Weah, he criticizing Day, that his friend. I'm not criticizing Mr. Weah, I'm just being honest. I'm saying I can't speak for other government, but some of the things I heard in certain circles. The youth expo getting a lot of money for youth program. But what is our own commitment to the young people? What is it? And like I said, we're not short of ideas. We plucked for a lot of ideas, a lot of concept documents. Okay? And you can't blame the president for certain things because when the president gives you a job, your work, you are there to do the job. Not to be running to the president every day to complain. Okay? We are government entities. And wherever we're supposed to work with, we're supposed to work with to set information for us to work together and get it correct and move forward with it. That's what I will do. And we kept pushing, and nothing was coming through. But as a whole, because we didn't do it, it doesn't mean that this government or successive government cannot do it. We just need to understand that because the development partners are supporting us, they're giving a lot of money to youth development. It doesn't mean that we as a government cannot do for our youth. We must be doing more than what we graduated. Lots of over 3 graduations we have for MVDC. Graduating over 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 young people capacity building. But again, that's why we're trying to. My team and I were working on making entrepreneurship as a course in our TVET schools. Because most of the young people, when they graduate from the TVET, look, when you go to TVET school or any profession, you either can be employed or be an employer yourself, an entrepreneur. But most of them got to be taught how to establish your business, how to do entrepreneurship, so that, like, say, we in a trade shoe shop, I'm learning auto mechanic, you learning electricity, something, we can put a cooperative together, form a corporation, and open a business. Instead of looking for a job, a government job, we get our own company running. That is the kind of a concept we had, the ideas we had. We wanted to teach entrepreneurship in our vocational schools. But unfortunately, we had to leave office. Well, like I said, it doesn't mean that this government can get ideas that will benefit the young people. And I'm happy that at least there's a youth who is now a minister. And I know she get her own ideas. She's been in the youth and student community, from my understanding. So she's fully aware of the challenges and and what the young people are looking for, what they want. And I hope the young people fly links to the Monterey Youth Parliament. I hope and pray and encourage them to support this minister like they supported me under my regime 6 years. Fly Lizu MRU Parliament. That every time they had confusion, they had property destruction for that convention and death, all kinds of things. It didn't happen under us. I worked with them, cooperated, and they supported our government. They supported the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I pray and hope that they will support this minister as well. Because she needs all the support she can get. They need to work with her so that she can accomplish things for them, because they should be the driving force behind her. When they put that weight behind her and she want to legislate something, that support from them will be great for our country and for our administration.
So how much was I'm stumped. How much was invested in the Ministry of Youth and Sports on your watch here, you can remember, besides the partners? Come on, that's the government responsibility. They must.
Yeah, but Alfonso, go on the Ministry find our website, look at the Ministry of Youth and Sport budget, or you see it there. These are public record. You will see what we got on our budget. The vast majority of the money on the budget go to salaries, the other thing. But I mean, I'll be honest, the development partners, and like I said, this is not unique to Georgia government, because I work in other government when I was assistant minister, and they see comes a youth, TVET, they were beneficiary, but not from the government of Liberia. It was from the UN and other partners at the time. So, and I show other Ellen government, the same thing happen. So it's not that you need one government though. It is not. But I'm just giving you my own experience in my government, what I heard people say a lot of time, about the youth and sport getting a lot of money, youth program, that program. Come on now. What are we doing as government for the young people? We got to look at that too.
We are wrapping up. Anything can come from out of the closet. When last you talked to your man?
Not since I believe 2014. Yeah.
The former president?
Yep.
The last 20, what year are we in now?
We're in 2026.
Mr. Minister will say you can't tell. Did he tell you that he coming back?
I'm not spoken to him. How do I know?
Now you be more politician. All right, let's and like I said, let's do this here. You remember this?
Yes. You visited me in my office and you interviewed me at the time. I remember that.
And you took us around here. And that's what, I hope and I say here, but sometimes people, whatever it is, I hope all the information is surface in the public, all what we're hearing today.
What information?
I mean, all of the work.
Oh, what I'm saying? Well, the thing is, I'm giving you my fair assessment after I left office. Things I believe we should have done our best to accomplish, we did not accomplish. And I take full responsibility for that. And I'm also giving you my view on how I see things vis-a-vis the young people in our country, how we need to approach their plight, how we need to engage to see how best we can support them. I just give you my view on these things and hope that those that did not accomplish, I would have. And it doesn't mean that this government or successive government cannot do things for the young people differently. I'm just giving you my candid opinion.
Right.
What I'm seeing here today is not meant to throw our government under the bus, but I talk about good things that we did. And it is fair to assess your administration, talk about the good things you did, and things that you fell short of. So talk about it too and how you see things for the future. And I just lay out here. So for me, I don't mind. I know there will be some folks attacking me. If they're not doing it now, tomorrow I will come on and attack. Because every time you try to be honest about things, people look at it different. They look at the big picture. I just wish that we can focus on the plan. We are a youthful nation, and the youth for every government should be a priority. That is my honest assessment.
That is my honest assessment. What was the worst administrative decision you ever made you remember during your tenure? And I wish I, Minister D. ZEOGAR, wasn't wouldn't have made this decision. Anything?
Administrative decision. Well, I think one decision that I made, I believe I got caught up in a web, it was not a decision per se, but you know what? I don't want to open your Pandora box, so I will leave that alone.
The fifth?
I will just leave that alone because what I'm about to say, if I say again, people will look at it differently. I will just leave it at that. I
All right.
can't, I can't record of a web decision out there.
And then Captain, can you open your stuff? Where I think we just have the minister spend 10 minutes with us now to go. And what was something that, yes, upon my appointment as minister, this is one of the things I really wanted to achieve. Whether it was 3 year, 4 year, and you did that as
And I did
minister,
not
that you did.
say that. No, please repeat yourself.
I was asking what was one of the most important or remarkable milestone that you think hallmark that you are proud of yourself as chief administrator of the Ministry of Youth and Sport then during your uh, as head of the ministry when you were there, that you can say yes because of my skill experience. This is what we did with my team.
Well, I believe in the youth and student community. I've followed FLA links with MRU Parliament activity for a long time. And before coming in office, I've received briefing and information of the confusion that existed in the three statutory institutions. I'm also aware how the three institutions in the past have been a thorn in the flesh of government. And I said to myself, I will work with my team to resolve all of these problems and to see how best I can work with these statutory institutions so they can be torn in our flesh. And I think we did that along with my team. We did that successfully, and I said for the last 6 years we worked for, we're in office for. There was now one demonstration from out of the institution. My
Oh,
offices were open to them. They had unfettered access to me. They had a seat at the table with me, and I worked with them cooperatively. That was a mission because of what I got to know prior to taking office. And I know their background, what they have done to past government. I did not want that happen to my government, to our government. So I worked with my team, and what we accomplished, I thought it's a great thing we did. Even the fact that youth and student community did not have that much loss. It doesn't mean that there were not problems along the way, but it did not rise to that level.
yeah. Actually, your office was really open. Unlike other people, even you know them, they know you. You get in that living room there, like you only away from Kmart or or Walmart. You coming. That was not the case. So when that the team was very receptive, the office staff, you were available, took a walk. I believe that time you guys were doing some work at the stadium. Camera
Yeah.
were able to go around. And I mean, that was great. If Omen Boyka call you right now, they say, "Hey, Diesel, something is still incomplete. Come on board. The train is about to get on this train. Are you ready to still serve your country?"
Well, I said before on another network that for me, working for government, I am done. I think the young people and others must be given the opportunity to serve. The only thing I can do now is to provide
Consultancy.
pro bono service, meaning if I'm asked, like for instance, on the outreach youth, if I'm asked to support something or ask of my opinion or whatever that is, I don't mind doing it, but there will be pro bono. I don't want to have that nomenclature of government employee. No, I'm done on that level.
Sometimes I can feel sorry too. I went down there. I mean, it like they're a Jometa market. The one that are coming to pay school fee to buy there. Like, what? All right. What, Minister Dizok, I want to thank you so much for taking up your time to talk to us here. And I really, really appreciate to get an insight. Sometimes you talk to people, it's not just good to be judgmental. But before we let you go, let's hear your departing statement, comment, and perhaps whatever you experience on your watch as a minister. You don't want to, from what I see, a very good and clear open mind for the current minister and the government. And I think that's the patriotism, that's being the real Liberian. That's what we should do. And when we're going out there, I mean, you will never nothing will be done. But I think we all must wish our country well. We can criticize, we can critique, but the bottom line, because when the country succeeds, we will not face the tension here. People will not be calling. Now they put no poor payday because they have no option. They have to call. What will be a final message to the Liberian people, to the government, and more especially to the Minister of Youth and Sport? Knowing from all that I heard from you, you want her to succeed.
Yeah, my message is again, the first thing I wish the government well. The fact that I come from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I wish the minister well. I hope she can look at all of the programs that we left there that they implemented and follow up on them. In fact, one other program I did not talk about was Youth Connect. Youth Connect is a very viable program that we had, supported by UNDP. Youth Connect is a program that was born out of Rwanda by President Paul Kagame. And Liberia is on the steering committee. It is my understanding that that program has been dormant for the last since we left. Again, I hope the minister will look into that program as well. And again, I call upon employees at the Ministry of Youth and Sport, the directors, to work with this minister to support her. I call on a statutory institution, FLA, LINSU, and the Managerial Youth Parliament Liberia chapter to support the minister. Like they supported me, they work with me, and I understand that she's well connected with them. They need to support her. And let's prioritize the young people, especially the average youth. The issue of drug addiction, the issue of mental health is serious. Not all the folks who are at risk youth are on drugs. Some of them, yeah, they may be on drugs, but they have mental health issues. We have to really focus on them. The program we started is not a perfect program. They need to look at that program. If they want to tweak it, they can tweak it. If they want to start a brand new one, it's their choice. What is important is for us to address the plight of these at-risk youths. And I hope the minister will do her best to revive the at-risk youth program, reach up to the one UN system, get them back on board, maybe ask the president to reconstitute the steering committee for our radio program that was chaired by the Minister of Youth and Sports and co-chaired by the Minister of Health. I think that would be the good beginning. to reconstitute that group and let's look at the issue. Because I know when the president took over, he said that his attention was on the fight the war on drugs. But we need to go beyond just fighting the war on drugs. Those who have been affected by the drugs, we need to address their plight. And I want to thank you for having me on. I would always be on with you.
Yeah, you
God
got
bless you.
now you I mean I know you have family time that hopefully we still can tap into, and I know that's something that's played. God don't let bad thing. Fighting drug, and people were taking vaccine, and we had this conversation here taking drug tests. I personally, and that my view, and the analysts will scramble over that. I feel it's still insufficient. It's a baby step, but it has to be perfected reaction. Okay, suppose I show my arm, I'm tested drugs, substance abuse, whatever. What next for me? What's the plan? Do you just know about me? I'm a drug user and go? I'm not sure. You guys did that too? You were test, you were juking your shoulder, your arm to
No, no,
test.
no, no. The only thing folks were doing was like all these folks that went to go vote, like I told you, but they came back. We tested them to make sure that they were clean. So we did that. If you left the camp, the re-absent for any reason, and you came back, they tested you to make sure that you did not taking anything while you were out. Yes, we did that.
Okay, we're not going to miss that one. In subsequent time, we're gonna. But ministers, I want to thank you so much for what you do, for your service to the country. People agree, disagree, everything is not 100%. But I really want to thank you for taking up time to take our inside the Ministry of Youth and Sport during your tenure and after. I know nobody calling now, plenty now, oh, minister, you got to do that. But the one they call them will still come, but I know it's not easy. But thank you so much for sharing your thought. And please don't hesitate. I think with for those of you who've been there with this experience, I mean, we can have these sort of casual conversation, and that would be part of maybe pro bono service. Maybe once in a while you can pop in here during your leisure time. That would be great. And put
No
forward.
problem.
Yeah, but thank you so much.
You're most welcome, Alfonso. You have a blessed night.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, well, folks, that does seems we're going to be having a post-reactions interview with Minister ZEOGAR Wilson. This is a program, it's not a talk show. So when we're having this, we try to allow them to tell their story, what the date and what we now know. We want to thank you so much for sharing your evenings with us. And if this is the first time here, this is the Diaspora Informative News Magazine, Liberia Public Radio, Lpr-Tv. And I really one of those. There are some friends, you know them by the time they get. We have a lot of people here who, at the end of the day, they got up there. I want to get that. They don't know. They just don't care. They're trying to be basic. But I think former Minister Wilson was not one of those who were very much received. I was taking on the tours. I was in the office. I remember my son was hot drunk. We had nice cold water. And he was very, very good, very receptive staff, to receive you. They're not just telling you, wait. I think he was, but you heard for yourself. Let's get reactions to what you make of it. An analyst, I believe I'll send that link out there, but I believe everybody's having it. Latest night tour. I'm not sure Dr. Mali, where the political Reverend Keto came on. I'm not sure. But I will just leave the phone line on for a few minutes. And whatever you listen to, if you have something to say, what you gather from the minister, let's see here what Dr. Mali said. Why the CDC government did not inform the Liberian people about CDC good improvement for the youth at risk. And that's what I was asking him, because when I saw that, that caught my attention too, what that information was enough out there. And that's the danger when you allow people to define you. It's terrible. Then you take time to do all of the damage control. So unfortunately, we don't have answers to that question. But that's what we hear. Let me just bring in Walton Keto, the mayor from the Summer Ring Lane in Connecticut. Keto, are you there?
Yeah, but I can't come up with video for now. I can talk.
Okay, no, that's okay. My guess you've been monitoring from the get go, right?
Yes, I've been monitoring. The halfway into the program, I'm into your guess. I'll start monitoring it. And so
Okay,
I got a whole gist of what he was talking about. Mhm.
all right. So let me get a quick reaction.
So, look, first of all, I like to say hi to our listening and viewing audience, and like to say hi to if the guest is still listening or
No,
viewing the
no,
show. Yeah, I'd like to say hi to him and thank you for coming on the show. I'd say thanks for coming on the show to express or share his experience while he was minister when he was minister. So this the thing, right? And I heard this minister on Spoon before with the same story and narrative. For me, I don't believe when you push him with some questions, right? I think the minister did his best. The minister accomplished a whole lot. 6 years, 6 years, people think 6 years is like a long time to achieve a whole lot with the meager resources that we have in the country. So the expectation of our people is like when you give 6 years to somebody to come and transform a certain era, they should play magic to perform. And if those people do not perform, some of them who would have said responsible or blame it on the government or on the entity or whatever. And then where I differ with this minister, he did his best. He listed a lot of programs that he was successful in implementing. You understand? Some of the programs or today, this present government just left it. They're not doing anything with it. But under this former minister watch, there was a lot of things that were accomplished. And I think I should give him the kudos. Maybe, I don't know when he said there are some things that they expected to do more. Yes, there are a lot of things that I brought that people should do a lot more about. But with the space, the time, and the resources, I think it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to achieve in 6 years. So we got to be honest when we come on this platform to express it. Our country, Liberia, to really transform that nation, it ain't take no government 6 years that will be in power to transform it. 12 years said too small to transform that nation and to transform the minds of the people. It would take longer than 6 years, longer than 12 years. So we have to have consistent governance, right? So if President A come to power and start a project that the project is positive, when President B come to power, he should continue that project so they can enforce it, continue to push it until we can see 100% result from that project. I don't want people blaming themselves or putting blame on any government, right? Let's take for example, President, we have started connecting roads. Ellen Johnson said it just started connecting roads. Connecting roads. President we are picking up where she left, she picked it up from there. President Bouaga come, he continued. After 6 years, President Bouaga going to leave, another president going to come. But when people sit and say, oh, President we did not do roads, then I say, wow, how? You're blind, you couldn't see because he didn't finish all of the roads, so he didn't do any roads. Joseph Boakai will not finish all the roles in Liberia, but he doing wrong. Yes. You see what I'm saying? He doing his part. So we should not be blaming ourselves or shifting blame on the administration that they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Especially when the minister said he himself said that there are so many things that they accomplished in that place. Yeah, there would all be shortcoming. And you cannot, one of the things I would tell anybody, you cannot blame yourself for failure of other people. CEO, we sent some of our relatives from Liberia who started to do drugs in the country. We took them from Liberia, sent them to places like Luanda to go to school. You know those people went and found people that were selling drugs and doing drugs and follow after them. You change
No,
the environment and they went into a decent environment good schools and everything. But they went and found people that were doing drugs, some Liberians that were doing drugs, and joined them on our side to do the same thing.
Okay, let me
So
hold you there.
it's for me. It's you try to help people and they don't want to be helped. That's their own business.
Oh boy. Let's say it's really sad there. All right. Let me hold you there, Kato. Thank you so much. Dr. Jones Otavio Malesania is Senior Educational Analyst of the Liberia Public Radio. I saw that tweet. I was a little bit like, what? What is God talking about here? I sent a link. I wanted you guys to come here. But something might have prompted that tweet coming from Dr. Mali, correct?
Oh, yes.
Where did you get it from, Minister Wilson?
First of all, I want to take my hats off to Minister Wilson for his courage and tenacity to appear here, as he himself put it. He will be placed under the microscope by his people. But I think he was very objective, especially the last question. When last you spoke with the former president? That was a tough one. Yeah, he really struggled with that because it has a lot of implications. Since
ZEOGAR know, but these are not. The follow on are going to be coming.
Yeah, so it's like I'm also disappointed seriously about Mr. Keto feedback. Oh, I will come to that later on. I am not for CDC.
Keto, Dr. Jones, Keto is a reaction. So that's exactly, he wants to go as ZEOGAR, but he wants to do it in a very...
Oh my God, I'm not going as ZEOGAR. I'm just saying in fact.
I think, yeah, Keto, you got to give me a break. You just...
And when you call me in it, I gotta say. Go ahead.
You just disown this man openly and show him to the leftists. But I want to welcome this guy and thank him ever so much for his political maturity and how he really handled this program. No jargon, no beating around. I mean, he was straight and direct to the point. And I also want to give thanks to the moderator who really pushed him around and he was able to provide something. But here is my take. The question I asked you that you just brought. I think we said this thing before when Georgia was in power. I see systemic communication deficiency.
Clarence, the line open. I put it number out. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Mali.
Yes. I see systemic communication deficiency, which is an ailment that really undercut or undermine the CDC. Is from what I see from former Minister Wilson, it seems to be a lot was done in the CDC government, but nobody just know about it. Look at the volume of things this man put forward. I was very shocked. But the question now is, I think this is where the Unity Party has taken advantage of that gap. Now they get what I call regular briefing now from the various ministry in the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism or Information. There is the quarterly briefing now, people going there to say what they have done. And I think this is the missing link. If Minister ZEOGAR Wilson, if they have put their government have put in place the kind of a system, you don't need 6 years for me to know, like what Keto there breaking about 6 years now. No. Tell the Liberian people where we are. Tell them what the letter you have done in 2 months. We'll be taking notes if this has happened. I mean, I just want to believe CDC did a lot, but their communication gap, there was a lot of systemic deficiency in there. Yes, I must admit. Yes.
CDC,
But
for
then here is
CDC.
the thing too. I noticed some inconsistency with the former minister, especially when you ask him.
The guy right here, baby, now.
Oh no, we got to balance the presentation, moderator. In a much, I take my hat off to him equally. So there was some little inconsistency.
But we are the honest people.
Especially
Terry, then they are Tabata people.
Especially when you ask him, when you took over, were there anything left on the decks from the Helen government? He said categorically no. Nothing. Zero. And he came back again. When you push it on the left side, he came back again and said, oh, they had short-term program. And they how did he know that they had short-term program and nothing was left on the desk? Minister Wilson, you should have gotten your act together. Some of us were listening. You can't do that. So I want to believe something were left there. That what he talked about, that there was a short-term arrangement, but he didn't like it. He wanted to structure long-term. Yeah, he wanted to structure the long-term agreement. Plan. And I also agree with him 100%. That there were no shortage of brain with his team. I agree with him. I'm telling you, I really agree with him.
He had a very good team.
Yes, but the problem now is he struggled to convince me about the statistics of youth. Because 11,000, he talked about 60,000, and he talked about some people brought. Who are there? Some people, minister, you need to get your act together. The world is listening. Where are these statistics coming from? 60,000. The United Nations have got different figure, all right? But I think all in all, I saw him as a man, as a minister, putting a lot of tools together for the youth, especially the youth at risk. And I like the definition he gave for them. All right. But one question that was actually left out, I don't know what left out intentionally, because there's an argument in the Liberian cycle that the proliferation of narcotic rise up during the 6th year unexpectedly. I thought the minister would have looked into that, but the moderator decided to keep that. Anyway, that was a good one.
How can you say I decided?
So, okay, when
I thought it. You see, oh my goodness.
Anyway.
And the other thing
now you are indicting me. I throw the link out with the hope that
okay, I take my word back. But
this the thing. This the thing.
Give me a break. Let me learn, please.
But why would you want the CEO to put up a false statement? No. I want to ask you a question. Why would you want the CEO to ask a false statement? Because that statement just made it false.
Listen now, oh man. There's information all over the place that the proliferation of narcotic.
You do not have facts to that.
I said there is.
Hold on 1 second.
Or it is alleged that the proliferation of narcotic started in the CDC government. And there's some reason. That was, I said it's alleged, all right? Because they had the results, the Jamaican results, and then a whole lot of things were going on. I don't have the evidence, all right? But what, that just focus on the minister. I think the minister, what he said, yeah, if it is true, because we have not heard the other side of the story from Minister Bangalore, who I understand from sources that he performed so dismally, they had to whisking out of that place there, all kinds of story. All right. But if what he said, if we can revisit this thing as government, the little thing that youth connect, all the little thing, they are very significant to youth. But again, there's this saying that government is continuity. But it said the seeing continuity in programming, that's a different story.
That's a different story. Let me hold you there, Dr. Mallet. What a good what a good analysis, reaction. And that's what we'll do here. We hold each other accountable. Let's go to the rescue.
Down there, bringing part of Tabata around here.
You know, their power level will soon be coming, so they want me out. Let me go to rescue. Uncle Clarence Davis is on the line. Clarence, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for the show, but I don't know what that Mali is saying with Clarence Cole. I'm not going to use any other name because like last year when you were bringing all that suggestion, I was wanted to call you and I told her last night.
Yeah, you see.
But then later I said, no, let me hold on.
You see,
but
you're not North Korea man again.
Don't mind Clarence.
Go ahead.
Okay. You know, certain thing as ZEOGAR said tonight, you know, many people, even from the CDC, will not let the recently. You know, you are like rural community, people who can, you know, people can hate them because of the was true saying. Then it's telling all the truth because CEO look at our like rural society. Look at when the USAID withdraw their funding from the international community, even from Liberia. They affected the government. The only thing I'm happy because we are succeeding is because we had an experienced leader and we had a good team. But if the government really want to succeed in the youth program, government should be able to put money into the youth program.
I'm sure the government, this is ridiculous.
Okay, now on our government, you know that the Swedish government left the country. So all the funding that the Swedish government was given when you were in the country, it affected also. So if we had that dependency on everything we want, we'll go over to the international community. When the international community move their hands to honor you, it's sometimes embarrassing. So it's the actual true you were saying, but the thing you were saying, other people were not making the feel that getting he said it's down to the CDC government. This issue with the ZEOGAR in our country is not only from the CDC. It started from Charter. I can remember when Charter left before Charter could leave. Benjamin Yete invited us garden along Bommy our way. We were in Nigeria at that time, and many of them men that even many of them Minnesota, but when they saw those over that went there, they got executed on the highway. And that was not a solution. When Ellie took over, at the time the money was there, the international community in the country, the woman that was University at that time, we never really focus on the youth credit program. That's the truth. So when we come here to say that
be careful, Terry listening to you.
Mr. So, the money that came in our country on the ending, what was the real serious program that you saw over there for the youth? Before that, people even that never fought, they went down and get their son and then benefited from it. But men, jumping on men and fought the war, they never benefited from that program before they found out that USA was giving them. So if you get a man that won't go that look at the property, that sold property, you can't find out anything waiting, then they were smoking drugs. What did the men will do? The men will go buy the community against how many people that can rob it. These are the things that we never did doing any time. When CDC took over, they are proven. Listen to me, Mr. ZEOGAR, my second time, listen to him. And what he said tonight, we never heard this thing when CDC was in power. There was not, there was not communication, they were not sharing their communication with the Liberian people. They tried. ZEOGAR is a fan. I commend him for coming, to the media to tell the truth. But our brother from the Sycamore tree, they will be thinking that we are against the CDC government. No. If you want our youth to succeed, Mr. So look at the young people in their country. I have my kids here going to school. Look at many of the high school graduates from Liberia. Many of them can read. But everybody wants job. So what are conditions are we putting in place to empower our young people in our country to do tomorrow? We talk about job creation. Even Putu Martin, they said they discussed about Putu Martin. The geology that they will bring out when they will come from South Africa and Ghana. How many of Nigerians are ready to pay? So if the leadership is discussing, the Mr. ZEOGAR is discussing that you don't look at the one that would benefit our young people, because if you cannot empower the young people in our country, who you expect to take over the country tomorrow? Thank you for the show, CEO.
Thank you so much, Karen. As usual, always let's welcome a strong friend and a Washington. Is a senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tara Collins is in the hall. Wilton Keto, a Wiashin based in Connecticut, claimed not to be independent, trying to take the positions of Dr. Mali and myself, which is not working out. He's still trying to restructure things yet. Tara, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Sue, how you doing, man? Dr. Mali and the others.
One of the stunning things was, guys, one of the stunning things was government is not coming forth to fulfill her obligations, her statutory obligations. The 1982 it's the national legislature that established the Ministry of Youth and Sports. That's part of their responsibility to make sure that citizens contribute usefully to their society. Here we are, because donors, international partners breaking in something, and they are not giving their own a fair share. That's terrible.
But it's not strange, Mr. Sue. It's not a strange thing. That is the scenario in Liberia. Every government entity fighting another government entity, especially when they see that government entity is flourishing, they tend to attack them so that they too can get more favor to flourish. So it's like a crab in a bucket, everybody fighting against one another. But the amazing thing was he gave some shocking revelations here, even though some of us were not on to ask some questions that, but he did make some.
I don't know why you didn't. I sent a link. I told you, I said, I was linked out and with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
The linking late.
No, I sent it. Anyway, that one is coming.
It came late. But anyway,
I want a commentary after the news.
Yeah. I have to be strategic when having it, because when you miss the Washington, the ANC, and all the other drop-out people, then they spoil the conversation. So we have an independent, and after that, we do a post conversation. We'll try to
some are already coming check out the whole thing, so it will boost you. Dr. Mali were going to bring the Bella Yaras or send it or so, and then I said to I was coming to put my own tabata there. But the guy did very well to propound. He propounded very well. The only thing was that you asking the question as to what was his budget, and he refused to give you the budget. He said you must go look for it while he's sitting right before you. So he said you should go and look for the budget. And in Samuel 12 regime, we didn't know the budget. We the budget was not exposed to the Liberian people. You see? So he's saying he said the government ain't getting nothing, and you are not getting nothing from the government. But what was your budget? You said that the budget, they only went for payment for salaries and things. So how were you operating for 6 years? He said donor fund. So was it only donor fund you were operating the ministry with 6 years? What was your actual achievement within the period of 6 years in regards to the impact you made on the drug stage in Liberia under President Weah? What was the impact? How many people you took out of, you took from drug addiction? How many people? How many people can you?
He get on numbers, oh.
Well, I heard him giving numbers on the
but he alluded but he alluded that it was insufficient. The week that they had money to have, according to him, they could have done like 1,000, 2,000 because that.
But Mr. So, where can we find those data? Where are they? Is it just a make-up data that we just?
You see, Bush, when they talk about 70 million, when we talk about data, is that one that we didn't talk about it. That's okay on the data you want to find out. All right.
But we give you ask for data on what it called. We this one now is a whole past regime. It's not a regime in operation. It's not a real time. This one is after the fact. So the data supposed to be there. The history is supposed to be there for all to go check it.
Wow. Terry, they have tutor, they have trained Terry. The taster is properly initiated. But let me get Breakable. He coming for everything in now. Breakable, let's hear you quickly.
Thank you for a show. Long time without calling on the show. Sometimes I'm watching the show tonight. I get listen, I really not want to.
So hold on. You wait, so that my show can I tell you the 4 3, right?
Because now we watching the show, I get 4 3 because sometimes it's about talking to you to see my head can be it. I really not want to talk, but when I listen to you, just say what you say, I feel bad. And you start laughing. You say yourself correct, and then you start laughing. It's what you do. When you need people talking, you can feel comfortable to be relaxed. You need to ask questions. But when somebody on the show, I suppose solution, you won't be asking questions back and forth. Listen, how a whole budget, whole country budget, military budget, you don't know about it. That the next time on the show, you say, oh, do you see this regime? No matter my budget. So why will you be laughing at everything in there? Tell me, do you have something? Or budget for a ministry or for anything. And why no matter nobody go try it says here, they tell you to say that you start laughing. Then you got to be fair. You got 3 years now in government. Your government is confused. So you're saying that yellow machine breed. You say yellow machine, just pick on it. I know yellow machine, bro. Nothing yellow machine. All the rest are paper. That's it. And got 10. And we bought trash can. You're bringing the budget.
Wow.
These days, I want to show talking. No. No, you can't talking on the show. I want to be quiet. But tell me, I think just said, it's so you can correct, man. But anytime you say you can correct.
No, you talking now, you correct. You
want to ask back and forth question. You see? You want to be neutral, but who's neutral one side?
Hey, listen, don't carry your pressure. Oh, we ain't get no insurance. We ain't get insurance here. You anything that you on your own.
Yeah, man. You tell me something. I'm not telling you, pastor, but the way you make a thing every day, I don't know what you talk to. They think so funny to say, tell me, don't do that type of thing. I tell you what your business is done. I can let your business. Okay, I look for all the time. I also will you, but don't wait. To convince you, just easy.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. We got a long way to go. Wow. I don't know. He got me lost completely. Why he said? I think you think, Terry, I think you need to have a special deliverance prayer for Breakable. you need to find Breakable and
CEO. One thing again that this guy brought up, even though we didn't dwell on it much.
I told my time to turn. Are you okay? Go ahead, Tamale. Because you told me not to talk when you are talking.
I don't know what the heading government left behind those things Minister ZEOGAR were talking about. Or they just created it, because of the inconsistency he just put forward, that they didn't leave him anything, he didn't see anything on his desk, nothing whatsoever, but he said there were the short program. So I'm wondering what Helen Johnson said is 12 years, they did not leave any implementable program on the desk for youth. 12 years.
Well, not to speak, but I know he found on short-term program that which he alluded that he doesn't believe in, and those things seems to look like a short-term. So I think their ultimate goal was to work on.
He didn't name them.
Okay.
You notice that? Anyway,
yeah, that's a good point.
So CEO, this is the thing here, right? This Wilton, this is the thing here. You see, when I came on, I was saying that sometimes when you are appointed to a position, do what you can do your best, and when the time, because of limited time, do not come from there and make the journalists, the undercover journalists, to make you to confess to things that are not correct.
Look at that.
Because now, listen to what the Unity Party surrogate is saying now.
Oh God.
The Unity Party surrogate like Dr. Molly Jones and the bishop, the pastor wanna-be politician, now coming at him. And this is the thing I say, with all of what he listed that he did under his administration, it appears to them that he did nothing because they didn't go to find it in the books. It's not on the website. It's not this, so he did nothing. And one person said on this platform, the PRO of the government will pull. This man came over and again. I said, don't work with him. They came on Spoon. They talk about it every day. They went to Mika. They talk about it every day. Like the Jovial entire administration, there were things that were said to the Liberian people. The media refused to amplify it.
No.
The media refused to amplify this. They selected those things that they wanted to put out there to make this government, to make President Weah government ugly. When take for example, when the $60 billion saga came out, they brought people in the country, the Coral Group, the Coral, all about the Coral, right? They came in the country, they did all the investigation. It was all in the news up to today's date. All the media that support this government continue, even the president all continue to talk about $16 billion missing in our society, knowing the fact that there was no $16 billion missing. These are the kind of narrative people all any president we are administration. All right? It is true. Dr. Malik came on the show and he put up something and Mr. Sok not even debunking said, no, this is not true. But I was trying to talk, I'm going to get Dr. Malik a chance to talk. Let him finish talking. And these are things that you can't put out. You say you heard. It's not true. What you heard is not true. Do you have facts to those things you heard? You go do due diligence to say, oh, let me check this thing to make sure it's true. But you come on this platform that a lot of people listen to, you say you heard. And you before you even could say you heard, you are confident of what you were saying first. And I wanted to come and say, no, but Mr. Sosa, I'm going to let you talk because you want the narrative to go. The more people listening, it will stick in their mind that these things happen, and they did not happen. And that's the sad thing about our society. We must be truthful to our discussion. We can be intellectually dishonest. And what I see in a lot of us that come on these platforms to talk, or sometimes we want sympathy from our people, so we act like, we are this angel. Every government that come to office, all the promises that President Bouaka made to Liberian people, he will not accomplish 50% of it. You say he didn't do anything? No. The time shot to accomplish all the things that he said he would do. For me, I would not blame him, but the only reason why you see we putting him up on Bouaka, because there are some things that he said he would do, and he's not doing it, and things are going wrong in his government. But for me to sit and say, President Bouaka did not accomplish certain things in his government, I will be lying. So let me honest to the discussion. You see, Mr. So all the people talk for 10 hours, then you come go ahead, you come call me up because I'm talking Tawata now, right? Okay.
So all the meaning, I wonder how many minutes you talk for?
I just start talking. They put interrupt me. I just start talking.
Just start talking?
Yeah. Dr. Malik, you were talking, you want to stop. I can eat some time, and then I step in and just say some things.
You want to finish what you're talking?
Yeah, let me finish what I'm talking. When I came on, I did not despise the minister. I said the minister should not put himself out there like he didn't do anything. The minister did a whole lot. And he should be proud of what he did in Liberia. He said he could do even better. No, he couldn't do more than what he did. What he did is what he did. What he did is what he did. The Liberian people, when they put you to this is a government job. This is a 6 years term. You go there, do what you gotta do. When you stop, another government pick it from there and do what they gotta do. But you can't come out and say, oh, there's no way you can post. Look, I was not play that for 25 years. He will change all the youth in Liberia. You can't do it. You will not do it. But what he would do, if he even changed the lives of 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, 100 people, that's what he did. Another
Okay.
person will come and change the lives of other people too.
Okay. I think you finished talking now, right?
Yeah, I've been talking.
Yeah, these people, I really can people, they hard to I get what you
If you die, the other show, you see me who die will be in the other show.
CEO, can I just make one point of correction?
You want to respond to waterfront?
One point of correction before the security analysts come in.
Who's the trying to get answer for
Keto is Mr. Keto is putting us under the belief that we should be running our government on Spoon TV. We should be running our government on private media. All right? Keto, it doesn't work that way. You have the Liberian Broadcasting Corporation. Where was it all the development was going on? You had the Ministry of Information. Where were they when these are the official channels we listen to? You go sit on Spoon TV and say, oh, I put the spoon here, I put the other one. I don't have time for that. It could be propaganda. But when the official agency is speaking, Mr. Keto, I pay attention. Thank you.
You know, they don't listen. And that was I was delivering my question, but then the minister he pleaded the fifth. If you listen to his tone, the connotations of things that he was saying, I mean, and it's not just only the we are government. I think President Boyka is experiencing that, especially if you are not like an official member of the party, if you are not being seen as one of those who are being in the vanguard, like you said to the friend. But I see CDC was just able to tell her own narrative. That tell it 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. When you finish, I will speak.
Yeah, like I was saying, I mean, I said that before. CDC was just unable to tell her own narrative. There could be no way that CDC will lose even Nima County. The development that went on, George Weah did a lot in Nima than any other place because that is a heavily contested area. But when you have multiple people who feel they have the narrative to their advantage and they can talk, instead of finding people to be very strategic in making their case, they were not like that. Terry, not Terry, Keto were talking Tabata, the other one talking Tabata. City mayor is supposed to be doing your work. He coming talking Tabata, a group of people beyond them, representative. You seeking re-election, you inflicted your own yourself, your own voters in a consequential election. How do you think you're gonna win? How do you think you're gonna win? You got distracted. You are still focusing, you are not drawing the contrast. This is what and people this is what President Weah was doing. This is what we represent. They were not making the case. So as a result, what happened? People define you. And that's what happened to Alexander Comey. And that's the bad thing in politics. When you allow people to define you, you get distracted because you're going to focus on damage control. So, Keto, 2020 now coming. Let's hear you, Terry, and go to Moses. Moses, good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, Mr. So the problem with Keto, then they want to make everybody to follow suit with them. And people not going to propagate your news for you. That's number one. Number two, you guys could not give people the data. Your government never gave us information to the core. We didn't know anything that was going on that y'all say y'all were doing. The most, like what Dr. Mali said, Spoon Talk is a propaganda radio station. It's all about propaganda. The people not giving you news. The only people that can give you news are the journalists on Spoon Talk. But you go listen to the show is all about propaganda. So they're not going to tell you the truth. Your government was under obligation to tell the Liberian people your success story, to highlight your success story. That was your responsibility. But again, even if you had a success story, which I doubt you did, you were going to, we were going to see it. We're going to be able to fast check it. We're going to check the data to see what you have accomplished X, Y, Z. But as it stands, in as much as Mr. Zoka was here this night to share his success story, where can we find those stories? Where are they? Is there any website that we can go on to backtrack to find out whether if all the things he said were true?
We get a
Is
website to find the
is it
70 million job.
verifiable? Huh?
Terry, we get a site to find a 70 million job.
But that's the opposition that they've got the right to ask the government to produce a $70 billion job. And the people gave you facts, they gave you some evidence and things. But we're discussing Mr. Zoka tonight now, Mr. So you deviating from the whole discussion. But yeah, it's so
He had to go
because you see, when Keto and Breakable then come on the show and try to talk to you, you know, then you can feel sorry for them. You can try to help them. I can see that, which is fine. Because they don't know how to present the thing. So they want you to get on the side to help to protect them. But these Boko, they mess up big time.
You call
And
them
Unity
Boko?
Party, Unity Party play with them. They use it against them. They did not explain their story. They place it, the media then. No, I said bugger. I don't say the other word. Bugger. Bugger.
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
You know, they play with them. They got Google News Media then for them to go to those places and showcase themselves. They did not do it. They started jumping beyond propaganda radio station to preach their narrative. Today, now they all the power. All the things the man said today, fine things. Great initiative. Even if we can find it, we take his word for it. Because in Liberia, you can't find no data, but who are explaining this story? Who are explaining it, Mr. So? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moses, let's hear you.
How you doing?
You had a chance to listen to Minister?
No. Good evening to everyone on the panel. Mr. Keta, where is he? He sure on the roof?
The new, how do you call it, sir?
That the roof in Nima County. He said George we are put there. That how they can spread their own successes. But good evening, everybody. Good evening to those in the listening world. And yeah, it's nice to be here. I came late because I had prior engagement. I'm sorry about that. I didn't listen to the program, so I'm not gonna reflect on it until I listen to it. Hopefully, when we meet on Friday or later on in the future, tomorrow, then I can make my statement. But I overheard Keta say a few things, and let me just respond to the Reverend a little bit. And I think the Reverend is right, because I can count on one hand the press conferences that were held with the President, His Excellency, the former President George Manneh Weah. They never shared any information. He never really had press conferences, as we see going on consistently. The people who had press conferences were other people like Jefferson Koji there, who were not supposed to be having press conferences, but forced themselves to get press conferences. And those are people we're not going to listen to give us facts, because we know from where they come. And, you know, my thing is that if development went on in Nima County, when you campaigning, you do those things before you become president. When you become president, you're president for everybody. You don't target a special area because of the political leverage you're trying to gain in our area. You forget about the other places, and I think that's what resulted to the to his defeat in this past election. As president, you represent those who they even vote for you. And you need to do your due diligence from the office to serve all of those people. But when you target a particular group because you got political ambition and you depending on them to vote for you like you did in the election process, then you fall short of really, representing the people. And I think that's the kind of politics that is played in Liberia. People, premeditatedly say, if I want that place, I gotta go there and do something for them, and then you neglect everybody else. In the southeastern area, nothing went on there. We know we didn't have no roads, and this administration is looking to go everywhere. They've gone everywhere, and I think that's good as far as the leadership base is concerned. And so that Sherry, and that's what I asked the question. When I was growing up, when I understood the Ministry of Information, Tourism, and Cultural Affairs, I'm not sure whether they said the Ministry of Information and Cultural Affairs supposed to service only the executive mansion. The executive mansion has its own press code. Every ministry has their own press code, public relations department. And I'm not sure if the Ministry of Information, Tourism, and Cultural Affairs was designed to present propaganda in the interest of the government. And tourism, cultural affairs, information, that is to engage people to come into the country and do certain things. It's not solely to work. That's my own understanding, and I could be wrong. And I hope, and somebody out there can correct me. But you have a press code in the executive mansion. The legislature have their own press code. Every other ministry has their own press code, their public relation people. And they need to do diligence and make sure those departments are functioning to the capacity that they should. But we can't wait for Minister of Foreign and Minister of Information to announce everything. And I don't think it's part of their duties anyway. But, as far as the Ministry of Youth and Sports, it used to be Labor, Youth and Sports. And the Labor part came there, and they took it away. The Department of Labor was taken away from the Department of Labor, Youth and Sports. I remember when, what's her name? Jenkins P. was Minister of Labor, Youth and Sports. And that's where we talk about jobs. But then they split it later on. So the youth and sports is not supposed to provide jobs. But I haven't listened to what what's his name? The former Minister ZEOGAR said. But I don't know if they have changed the job description for the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Labor, Youth and Sports. And if they changed the description for the Ministry of Labor. So that's something that I need to research, and then I'll be able to reflect on whatever the former minister said.
So all the one you're talking about, you were talking to her over here.
You're
not John Keto?
No, I'm not Johnny Keto. I'm just saying, this is just, sometimes the things that we're talking about, the media refused.
Basically, I think what to your disadvantage, unfortunately, you didn't listen to him.
Yes, exactly.
To profile his interview. So, but hopefully, you can pick time to.
Yeah, I will listen to it later this evening when you post it.
See, can I just come in for like 30 seconds?
3 seconds. 3 seconds passed already, Keto. Why you say 3 seconds?
Yeah, thank you very much. So sometimes it's good for us to listen. We don't see Joseph Boakai come on and give information to the public about what he been doing in the country or his different agencies been doing. We see people go to Mika and they announce all the things that the government doing. We see people go to ELBC, they do it, and we see the class reloaded, which is the government mouthpiece not doing it. Under President Weah administration, the Mika was used. Those people were sending information out to Liberian people as to what the government were doing. What I'm saying here, some people believe it, some people listen to it, and they had their own interpretation of what the government was saying. On Mika, go back to President Weah administration. Everything is recorded. Every Thursday, there were Mika, and they explain, they talk about the development, they talk about things that the government were undertaking. And they were not only on Spoon, they didn't go on Spoon because Spoon were against the government. Spoon were propaganda against Victoria government. I reference Spoon because people go and listen to the news, but there are things that was said in Liberia under President Weah administration at Mika, but it was not amplified. In fact, when it came out of Mika, the media twisted it because it was all planned to make this government look bad. Henry Costa, Spoon, and other network were pushing the narrative. Everybody, to the extent that it was crazy. Take for example, see what happened to the three missing boys. Who came on Spoon? Jerome Verdier came on Spoon and said, President, we are sodomized the three boys and took their kicked it because he saw from kicked it and made an ambassador of the America even mad to come out and say, why Liberians should be lying like that. They train the media to bring fair and balanced news. They shouldn't come out and lie like that. Today, you see Joseph, you see Verdier now to go on other platforms and sit on the alley,
Oh my
we
God.
close with all that happening in our country. So I'm just saying, we know you guys, we know how you guys operated in this country. When we sit down, we know how you guys pull strings because you be in power for so long. You pull strings and then you were able to strike you to this government through the propaganda machinery you had. I agree with Terry there. I agree with CEO that CDC did not, the PR were not as effective as the Unity Party doing today. All right? This is the reason why the Liberian people, even though the opposition is not pushing this government, is not putting all things out there, but Liberian people seeing the lies the government continue to lie to them. And so the opposition need to do anything. The Liberian people will decide for themselves. When you're breaking people's homes and making a display in their own country, when you taking people on a job and giving job to foreigners and all that thing, Liberian people see everything.
5 seconds
So
down.
you guys not going to succeed again. You guys not going to succeed. Look at Liberian people see straight through you guys.
This
The
who?
lies, the intellectual dishonesty that you guys exhibited during the past administration, and today you guys still doing the same thing on every platform people go. That's the sadness of our society. Thank you,
Wow.
CEO.
Okay, thank you so much. This is just a post discussion, so we're going to wrap up as time mentioned. Terry.
But Mr. So, we in a political theater, you don't forget about yourself. You know, if you do that, it will be detrimental to your political career. And I do agree that there were a lot of propaganda going on. First of all, you must understand that former President Weah was a contentious political figure, come into the landslide, taking everybody's bread away. And like I said, our former President Weah will always be popular in Liberian politics for one reason, because he put Liberia on the map. He's not the kind of character that the people want to hear him speaking good grammar. They want to see him. Former President Weah can do any bad thing and still be elected. The reason is because they're looking at him from the perspective of what he did for Liberia by putting Liberia on the map. So that is why they will beat on JNB when he don't speak good English or when he don't do the right thing. But for Joe Weah, he ain't got to do anything correct. They just let him because of what he did. That's why I say the political class and voting system in Liberia, they prioritize what you did, what you have done, what have you done. And based upon what you have done is how they're going to recognize you, is how you're going to get that vote from them. You see? So that is why for him, he's in a separate category all by himself. He don't have to do nothing because they see him to be that guy who put Liberia on the map. But his handlers did not do a good job. And he himself did not do a good job. When he got into the office for which the people decided to entrust him, they say, if this man can play football single-handedly and put Liberia on the map, this man will do better for us when he become president. Unfortunately, when he became president, he turned his back on the people. Mr. Sigbe just said it. He never spoke one day. He never had a press conference. The people what he used to be advocating for and speaking for their votes, he refused to have press conference with the people. When they asked him questions, he chose jobs. He go on his platform, he dance. So the people now started to believe the narrative of Unity Party because he turned his back on the people. So whatsoever they say about him, he used to go in a church and be vindictive, justifying and being vindictive instead of going to the media and politely addressing the issue. So all of those things too, you don't just only blame the media or whoever, you blame he himself. He himself shot himself in the leg. Last minute of the time you went, you start having problem with Prince Johnson, knowing very well that Prince Johnson is a major political figure in Nima County. How you expect to win election? Your popularity is not the only thing that will give you political power. In politics, and that what he said, I'm not a politician, and that is true because he exhibited the same behavior. And even now, there are some people that are supposed to be lobbying and hustling to get on the side. Soon you talk something against CDC, they get problem with you. Look at Mr. Zuka Wilson, what he just said. The man said since 2014, he never met President Weah. They are not talk. But you were working in your government. You know what I'm saying? So how did he run the country? How you ran the government? This man sounds like somebody who is disenchanted. These are some of the people that also was affected from the bad blast of how President Weah treated his own ministers and his government. I meant to ask if I was on the show whether if he was ever in any cabinet meeting, because he said he never met a man. But you were a minister of youth and sport. But did he attend any cabinet meeting?
No, that's not why. That's not why.
He said you asked whether if he communicated when last he talked with his man.
That was
and he said since 2014. Except I'm wrong, except because the video is there, you can replay and all of that. But he said since 2014.
After he left, I asked him when he left office, when last, whether he ever spoke with it. Because my question where I was going was to sort of kind of pick for him what I saying, because he said he's a good friend. So okay, you know what happened, whatever year, 2023, that's okay, 2029 coming back. I mean, that's where I was going. So, and that was the question I think he was responding to.
Mr. So finish facing it. Okay.
No, but Mr. So,
that's it.
You see,
but he said 2014. He said, I've never talked with a man.
Terry is right. He said 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
So,
okay, I mean, it was still in. Okay, yeah, all right. You know, the
President Weah was not in office at that time. President Weah was not in office
at that time.
You
were not in office at that time.
So that if he spoke 2014, how he got appointed by the president?
Yeah, and whether if he ever attended a cabinet meeting.
You know, these are the things we'll be talking about.
This only going to tell you that playing football is different from running country.
Okay. All right, guys, we got to wrap up. I'm exhausted. Dr. Mali?
Well, I don't know, but Wilson have got a very good message for seditions if they decide to run. He said one thing: those areas that we have shortcomings, if we want to run, we need to fix it. He held back his tone because he said he don't want to say a lot, and I agree with him 100%. So instead of the pristine, because they get three categories sedition. They get a pristine like breakable, they had in the pristine. But we're talking about governance. You see, CDC had a lot of spokespersons who were militants. They achieved more in the militancy than they achieved in government. You see, so I hope CDC will learn that lesson in so many areas. Now everybody will just come and be talking, singing, dancing. Even the dress code alone was so frightening to the entire citizenry of that country, where some people even want to join CDC. But these kind of for militant utterances that people were making. So very important people are in CDC. They don't even show up. even to the party headquarters to go there at war because they're afraid the guy could just create a condition and have them rapture. You see, so they need to really learn from ZEOGAR because I know ZEOGAR is an enemy tonight. They have already identified. In fact, he even said it. But he was just politically experienced, and he was just frank with the issue. He did not criticize George. In fact, his entire interview was about his office, my office, my office, my office. You see, so I know he already on a blacklist, but we can't do that. You see, so Breakable, I know you guys are part of the chorus wing of the CDC, but equally so, we got to be very objective. I'm not a sedition, but I take my hat off to this guy. All right. The plan he talked about, like what the man of God said, we don't know whether what the plan even mentioned at the Ministry of Information or LBS or even in the newspaper. I never came across these things. So it could be maybe a propaganda or a fabrication or another impression, because the other side of the story is to ask this guy, Ko Bangalu, who was booted up surprisingly, I don't know for what reason. All right. So I just want to thank this guy, and I hope he will come back again. He's a gentleman. I don't see him talking like a sedition. I see him talking like a real mature politician. Because we know how sedition can talk. We know. You see?
This is a stereotype.
Okay.
Keto, what you say?
Let's hear you, Terry.
I said, do you see the stereotype? That's the decision talk.
Sedition don't talk. They speak militancy.
Terry, let's hear you. What's the final?
Oh, the final word. So yeah, Mr. So it was a wonderful show you had tonight with the honorable man. And I'm very, very I'm excited. I think this guy will make a good he will make. These are some of the people CDC had that they never utilized the right way. I think if they would have used this guy the way they're supposed to, they could have gained a lot. Because I hear him even talking about trying to work along with the lady in charge as we speak to give her some information to lay the foundation for her to go forward. That is what
they're gonna kill him.
Oh, Dr. Mali, come on.
But serious. That is what transparent leadership should look like for Liberia from a patriotic perspective, not just from I'm a sedition and blah blah blah. So he's saying he's open for her to call him and ask him for advices. My own concern now is whether if this young lady that have taken over this key position is able to do the job. Today I saw something very scary on the Lpr page. But those boys and the journalists showing the death, those boys dying from drugs and all that kind of thing. We are faced with something like, I don't know if it's a pandemic or I don't know. But we are faced with something serious that we need to look at. And I really don't know if this young girl that took over this ministry have the technical ideas, the skill set, and all the kind of thing to effectuate the change expected. Because the young people, if they're dying like this, then what is the future for Liberia? So I hope something will change. Thank you.
Moses, let's hear you.
Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen. And I won't do justice for the show.
We're closing now?
Yes, you've been closing. Where you been? Why are you gonna ask that kind of question?
No, but Keto spoke already, so don't worry.
Yeah, you finished talking already.
I'm close, Yellow.
Yes, you did. What are you talking about? You were the first.
Go ahead, Moses, please.
I want to close in there, CEO.
Don't disturb my thing, man. What's wrong with you? You finish talking your own automata, then you want to interrupt other people.
CEO on the last year.
You better stop it.
Moses,
CEO, I won't do justice to react on some of the things. I'm just going to use my experience of understanding what administrators, when they put someone in a position of higher authority, they don't need to go back and beg somebody to say, I want to do this, I want to do this. You were given the confidence. They trusted you to take over a department. And you coming in need to create policies. And you need to have a vision for what you know that job is supposed to do to make a difference in the lives of other people, of the citizens. And if it means that your position is there to change, to kind of create a better quality of life for the people, no matter what it is, you need to put a blueprint together and present it to the person you work for. And so, like I said, I'm not going to do justice with ZEOGAR Wilson if I should respond without watching the show. But I'm sure hearing what you guys are saying, and I see people here praising him, some of us know some history of that relationship before. And like you say, he has not spoken to the man since 2014. That's true. That's true. When we used to do Iron Barrel game here, that's a whole lot of story to be told. And people were surprised that he even went to work at that ministry under George Weah's administration. There were a lot of people that were surprised. So after the fact, you don't come, from my own observation, you don't come after the fact and say, when you were there, you wanted to do this, you wanted to do. You should have implemented it. You should have made you should have.
You one of those that was surprised?
Yeah?
Are you one of those that was surprised?
Oh, yeah, I was surprised.
Okay.
I was surprised. There were a few people that were appointed by Weah that surprised me.
All right.
That surprised me. You know,
Okay,
there were a few
guys.
people. So anyway, I will give my comments when I listen to the show later on today.
All right.
For tomorrow. I'll save my comment for tomorrow. But, you know, I wish everybody well. And wait till you stop campaigning. Wait till you stop campaigning, because your campaign time is over. It's been over when you are not elected again.
All right,
It's
guys.
over.
Thank you so much.
CEO,
Thank you, Mr.
Now you business.
You're good night, guys.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I want to say thank you to ZEOGAR Wilson for sharing his evening with us. On this note, to our viewers and listeners, we say thank you so much for being part of tonight's program. By God's willing, we'll be back here in subsequent time for more programming. Have a pleasant night. Bye-bye.